What would you do if I told you that a poor boy with only $10 in his pocket became a millionaire? No rich parents, no special connections, no lottery, just one decision that completely changed his life. And the shocking part, most people hear this secret but never use it. This is the story of David. David was born in a small town where opportunities were rare and dreams often felt impossible. His family struggled to survive. His father worked long hours in a factory and his mother did everything she could to support the family. Despite their hard work, money was always a problem. There were nights when the electricity was cut off because the bills couldn't be paid. There were days when David's parents skipped meals so their children could eat. As a child, David often wondered why life seemed so unfair. Why were some people living in huge houses while others struggled just to survive? Why did some families have everything while his family had almost nothing? Years passed. When David turned 18, he got his first job at a grocery store. The pay was low, the work was exhausting, but David was grateful to have a job. One evening after receiving his weekly paycheck, David sat alone in a small coffee shop. An elderly businessman noticed him looking worried. The businessman smiled and asked a simple question. "Why do you look so stressed?" David laughed. "Because no matter how hard I work, I never seem to get ahead." The businessman nodded. Then he said something David would never forget. "Poor people work for money. Rich people make money work for them." David didn't understand. The businessman explained that most people spend everything they earn. Rich people invest. Most people buy things that lose value. Rich people buy things that create value. That conversation lasted less than 30 minutes, but it changed David's life forever. The next day, David made a decision. He would learn everything he could about money. While his friends spent their weekends partying, David spent his weekends reading books. While others watched television for hours, David studied successful people. The more he learned, the more he realized something important. Building wealth wasn't about luck. It was about habits. It was about patience. It was about making better decisions every day. David started saving a small amount from every paycheck. At first, it seemed pointless. The amount was tiny. The progress was slow. Months passed, then years. Many times David felt like quitting. Many times he wondered if all his effort was worth it. But he kept going. One day, after years of saving and learning, David decided to start a small online business. He invested almost all of his savings, and then disaster struck. The business failed. David lost money. He felt embarrassed. His friends laughed at him. Some people told him to give up. For a few weeks, David considered quitting. But then he remembered something the old businessman had told him. Failure is expensive only when you refuse to learn from it. So David tried again and again. Each failure taught him something new. Each mistake made him smarter. Each setback made him stronger. Finally, after years of effort, something incredible happened. The business started growing, customers increased, sales increased, profits increased. For the first time in his life, David wasn't worrying about money, but he didn't stop there. Instead of spending his profits, he invested them. The investments created more income. That income created even more opportunities. Slowly, the money started working for him. Years later, David became a millionaire. People called him lucky. People admired his success. People asked for his secret, but they never saw the years of struggle. They never saw the sleepless nights. They never saw the failures. They only saw the final result. The truth is that David didn't become rich overnight. He became rich through discipline, through patience, through learning, through consistency, and most importantly, through refusing to quit when life became difficult. Today, millions of people are waiting for the perfect opportunity. They're waiting for luck. They're waiting for someone to save them. But the reality is simple. Success begins the moment you take responsibility for your future. You don't need to start rich. You don't need perfect circumstances. You don't need special connections. You only need the courage to begin. Because the difference between ordinary people and extraordinary people is often one decision, one choice, one action, and that action can change your life forever. So the question is, what decision will you make today?